An FBI investigation into a local union and its reputed ties to the mob is in shambles tonight.
It's all because of an informant who double-crossed the FBI. Channel 5's Paul Hogan and our Unit 5 team have obtained exclusively a videotape of that informant's confession. Paul's with us here now. Paul?
Well, Deborah, the FBI informant told officials of Teamsters Local 727 that for 3 months he accepted money to tell agents everything that was going on inside the mob-linked union offices. And after he admitted his role as FBI mole, Russ Kratzard sat down in front of a Teamster video camera and made this tape, a tape we obtained from a union lawyer.
Yeah, I guess you might say I blew my own cover.
Russ Kratzard says he spent most of the past 3 months living 2 lives, Teamster and FBI informant. 2.5 weeks ago, Russ Kratzard walked into Teamster Local 727 on the northwest side and confessed to union officials that he had betrayed them. Confessed for 2 hours in front of a Teamster video camera. Kratzard's story begins 10 years ago when he became a bus driver for Continental Air Transport at O'Hare and joined Teamsters Local 727, eventually becoming union steward. That's how he got to know James Echo Coli, then the boss of 727, identified by Internal Justice Department documents as a syndicate member, burglar, convicted armed robber, and strong-arm man. He was also, the report says, a close associate of Joey Ayupa and Anthony Accardo, Chicago mob chieftains. Since Echo Coli's death 2 years ago, Local 727 has been run by his eldest son, James, and a younger son, John Coli. During his videotaped confession to James and John Coli, who were sitting just off camera in the union offices, Kratzard told why FBI agents wanted him to spy on the Teamster Local.
I'm going to look you right in the eye and tell you why. You are supposed to be the most corrupt local in the Midwest. In other words, James E. Coli Jr. can pick up a phone, push a button, and somebody can disappear.
In addition, the business agent for Local 727 is this man, 69-year-old Joseph Talerico. As part of its 6-year-old probe of skimming at Las Vegas casinos, the FBI says it photographed Joe Talerico passing laundered money to Chicago mobsters. But the thing federal agents here in Las Vegas needed most if they were to crack the casino's skimming investigation wide open was hard physical evidence. Evidence linking laundered money here with the Chicago mob. But twice in the past 2 years, Joe Talerico has refused to give that kind of evidence to a grand jury and has been jailed.
As soon as I said, Joe Talerico, she lit up like a Christmas tree.
Initially, Kratzard says he worked with 2 FBI agents in Chicago. Last week's fog and rain helped conceal their identities, and we will only report that they are a husband and wife team who work for the FBI and live on Chicago's northwest side.
I was a paid agent.
And what does that mean?
That means for information I supplied them on Local 727, I was paid for it.
In his confession, Kratzard told the Teamsters he had drawn up and given the FBI detailed schematics of Local 727 offices.
It took me 3.5 hours to draw it. Everything from the pictures to the waste paper basket to the pencil sharpeners, desks, files. I know of one room that is paneled off where it's supposed to be, not there on any other diagrams, and there's actually 2.
Mm-hmm. Did they tell you
where the coffee machine is at?
I have a little bit of reluctance discussing this matter with you.
James Coli did say, however, that on 2 separate occasions he was able to confirm that Kratzard was telling the truth. Once, the informant let him listen in on an extension as he phoned FBI offices.
He asked for an agent and said, tell him I'll call him on another line, on the clean line. And he gave his code name. We then came back here and he phoned them on this other line, and the man answered the phone and said, hi, Russ.
Increasingly concerned and angry, James Coli and his lawyer came here to the federal building for a secret meeting to lodge complaints with the organized crime strike force attorney. And within a few hours, things began to happen. Russ Kratzard, who knew nothing about this secret meeting, was called in by the FBI, told he no longer worked for them, no longer would be paid by them.
What was interesting is whereas Russell Kratzard had been here 4 and 5 times a day up to that point and had been calling on the phone constantly, almost from the minute that we walked into their offices, he disappeared. And we had not heard from him again for about a week. And then subsequent to that, he called, thanking me for going in and exposing him.
Special agent in charge of the Chicago FBI, Ed Hegarty, would only say, people come to us with information. We have an obligation to accept that information. We can neither confirm nor deny the existence of any investigation, nor the existence of any person who has given information to the FBI.
Their main interest was completely 727. To get something on somebody, didn't matter what.
Well, why would the FBI risk this kind of exposure to infiltrate Teamsters Local 727? To answer that question tomorrow night in part 2 of this report, the trail leads back to Las Vegas, where pressure to move the 5-year-old casino skimming probe off dead center revolves around Local 727's business agent, Joe Talerico.
Paul, how did Russ Kratzard even make contact with the FBI in the first place?
He says he made an initial contact with the FBI when he was living in Las Vegas last year, and then when he moved back to Chicago in December, he knew an FBI agent who he had grown up with, and he made contact, and as soon as he mentioned 727, he says that's when this all began.
Does the FBI have any legal recourse against Kratzard?
I don't believe they do. They were dealing with him, although we don't know. We don't know what their exact dealings with him were. They have not, by the way, publicly admitted that they had any.
Thank you.
There's another arrest to report tonight of a man who is something of a folk hero on the South Side. Willie Flukey Stokes has a charitable reputation, but police say he's a notorious drug dealer, and tonight he's charged with murder. With a Channel 2 News escort, Stokes turned himself in today after being on the run for 2 weeks. Jim Avila has exclusive details.
Willie Flukey Stokes is a South Side legend in his own mind and in his own neighborhood. This is the man who spent $200,000 on an anniversary party for his wife and gave away $100 bills as door prizes. He's the man who buried his son in a $10,000 customized Cadillac casket.
He's known around the world, you know. He known, buried his son in a gold Cadillac or something, you know. Got money and stuff, got a nice little townhouse, driving nice little cars and stuff. People got nice little cars. He cool.
But police say Flukey Stokes is a cool-as-ice drug kingpin who has built his reputation and personal fortune selling heroin. Today, with the Channel 2 News escort, attorney Kevin Bolger surrendered Stokes to Cook County Sheriff's deputies to answer charges he hired an assassin to kill another alleged drug dealer.
When I go to court, I'm going to prove that I'm innocent. Because I don't know this guy that got killed. I never been in a store, and I hope that his family will believe this, because I had my own son killed. I know how they feel.
Despite his arrest, Flukey's reputation flourishes on Drexel Boulevard, where he is known as a South Side Robin Hood.
He's just a nice guy. He hasn't did any, you know, he's always helpful. He helps everybody.
Stokes claims police call him a drug dealer and now a murderer because a black man with money riles them.
I don't even know what drugs look like. I never used them or deal them. I don't even drink.
Flukey Stokes claims to have made his money at the dice table, a professional gambler. Tonight, if there's a dice game with Flukey Stokes in it, it's in the county jail, where he awaits the first hearing on the murder-for-hire charge, March 4th.
It's being called the largest single case of corruption in this area in a decade now. 33 people, including a dozen police officers, under federal indictment tonight in an alleged bribery scheme. Channel 5's Renee Ferguson has the latest. Renee?
Ron, it all started in 1984 when a gambling kingpin complained to 2nd District Commander Mandron Johnson that the police were arresting too many of his people. The kingpin allegedly said he wasn't getting the protection he'd been paying for. Commander Johnson went to then Superintendent Fred Rice, and together they went to the FBI.
The FBI said Johnson's secretary, Cynthia White, up as a bag lady. She accepted bribe money for drugs, gambling, and prostitution. Then she allegedly gave the money to the corrupt police officers.
What the gamblers and narcotics dealers received was protection for their operation, arrests against their competition, tips alerting them to potential raids of their narcotics or gambling operation, and in return for those services provided by the Chicago police officers, they received bribery monies.
The U.S. Attorney says payments to the indicted officers varied from $700 to $8,300. But some of the indicted officers claim they were encouraged by their superiors to take the bribes. They say they were entrapped.
The only thing we're concerned about is whether or not we have evidence that somebody took or paid a bribe in connection with this. And whatever the allegations may be of individuals, I frankly don't care.
Superintendent Leroy Martin said the incident was unfortunate, but it sends a message about the myth that officers keep a code of silence and won't turn in their corrupt brethren.
The code of silence must not be that silent, because we have Officer White and Officer Johnson here who led this investigation from the beginning, and one that asked for help from the FBI and the U.S. Attorney's Office. So the code of silence doesn't exist.
The officers face 40-year prison sentences and $500,000 fines if they're convicted. And one interesting aside to this story, among the 21 alleged gamblers and dope dealers indicted, 52-year-old Curtis Stokes, the brother of the infamous but now deceased racketeer Flukey Stokes.